Are you ready to listen to a story? Our story today features simple present verbs and simple past verbs. Before we begin, let us find out what these words mean. Surf the internet. Allowance. Internet browser. Website. Research. Peter and friends. Almost every afternoon, before Peter goes home from school, he stops by the computer shop near their house. His classmates, Jacob and Diego, usually go with him. They only need 15 pesos to play computer games for 1 hour and even surf the internet. Peter saves his weekly allowance just so he could use the computer. I want to play the latest version of our favorite game, Jacob told Peter and Diego one day. I agree. Let's play that right now, Diego answered excitedly. Both Jacob and Diego went to the lady at the counter to pay 15 pesos. However, before Peter could pay, he suddenly remembered something. Aren't we supposed to read an article about our homework in health? Peter asked them. Oh, right. I almost forgot about that, Jacob said. Good thing you reminded us, Peter, said Diego. So the three friends opened the internet browser and searched for ways of preventing common childhood diseases. Instantly, a list of websites appeared on the screen, and they couldn't decide which to read first. Let's just click this, Jacob said while pointing to a certain website. Don't forget what Teacher Francis told us, Peter reminded them. When we're searching on the internet, we have to be mindful of what we're reading and believing, he added. You're right. We can't be careless and believe everything we read on the internet, Diego said. But that's so hard to do, complained Jacob. But at least we're going to be sure, Peter answered. Come on, it's the right thing to do, Diego said. Jacob nodded, and the three of them continued their research. Yes, it took them longer, but at least they were more confident with their research. After almost an hour, they finished their task. Wow, that sure made me hungry, Jacob said. Want to grab something to eat? Peter asked them. Jacob and Peter both agreed. Let's go! We can just play our game next time, they said. So Peter and friends left the computer shop, all three of them happy and feeling accomplished. Who are the characters in our story? Where do they often go after their class? What do they usually do there? How much do they pay for an hour of computer use? Were they able to play a computer game? Why or why not? What did they do instead? What was their research for? What did Peter remember about what their teacher had told them? Why should one be mindful when using the internet? Do you also browse the internet? What should you keep in mind? Now let's take a look at some of these sentences. Almost every afternoon, before Peter goes home from school, he stops by the computer shop near their house. Peter saves his weekly allowance just so he could use the computer. So the three friends open the internet browser and search for ways of preventing common childhood diseases. What are the action words or verbs in each sentence? Goes, passes, saves, and use are verbs in the present tense, while opened, searched are verbs in the past tense. For present tense verbs, we either just use the base word or add s or es. For past tense verbs, we usually add d or ed.